Okay, with the 80th anniversary of D-Day coming up, I thought I'd look at what roles things like the SAS and the SOE played in the lead up and during that particular event during World War II, D-Day landings. While D-Day landings on June 6, 1944 are celebrated as a turning point in World War II, the success of Operation Overlord was not solely dependent on the amphibious assault on the Normandy beaches. There were, behind the enemy lines in the shadows, another crucial campaign which was unfolding that was orchestrated by the Special Air Service and the Special Operations Executive. These elite units played a vital role in disrupting German defences, gathering intelligence and paving the way for the Allied invasion. Now, the SAS was a unit formed in Africa in 1941 and specialised in conducting raids, missions and sabotage operations deep behind enemy lines. As the D-Day invasion approached, SAS teams were deployed to wreak havoc on German communications, disrupt supply lines and harass enemy troops in preparation for the Allied landings. Now, in the weeks leading up to D-Day, several SAS units conducted daring raids on German airfields in France, Belgium and the Netherlands. The mission was twofold: to destroy enemy aircraft and infrastructure and basically sow confusion and panic amongst the German forces. These lightning fast raids often involved parachuting into enemy territory under the cover of darkness, sabotaging aircraft and escaping before the enemy could mount a counterattack. Now, another key task assigned to the SAS was the interdiction of German supply convoys and reinforcements moving towards the Normandy coast. Operating in small, highly mobile teams, SAS soldiers would lay in wait along enemy transportation routes, ambushing convoys, destroying any vehicles and inflicting casualties and as much damage as possible on the German military. Now, these hit-and-run tactics disrupted German logistics and delayed the arrival of several reinforcements to the front lines. SOE operatives played a crucial role in liaising with the French resistance, providing them with weapons, supplies and intelligence to aid their sabotage and guerrilla war efforts. In the months leading up to D-Day, SOE agents helped coordinate acts of sabotage against German infrastructure, including rail lines, bridges and communication networks. And this weakened the enemy's ability to respond to the impeding invasion. The contributions of the SAS and the SOE to the success of D-Day invasion cannot be overstated. Their daring raids, covert operations and acts of sabotage played a crucial role in disrupting German defences, weakening their morale and paving the way for the liberation of Western Europe. Yet their efforts often went unrecognised, overshadowed by the larger scale amphibious assault on the Normandy beaches. As we commemorate the anniversary of D-Day, let us not forget that the bravery and sacrifice of these unsung heroes of the SAS and SOE, who operated behind enemy lines with enormous amount of courage and resolve, contributing immensely to the Allied victory in World War II. Their legacy serves as a reminder of the importance of covert operations and the critical role that they play in shaping the outcome of any conflict. So, as we've discussed before in the video, that SOE and the SAS had played quite a vital role in the D-Day operations, and a lot of them, what they did was done prior to the beach landings. So the big question is, how we go about wargaming this? Well, one of the easiest and simplest ways is to use a rule set like 0 to 100, which has been specifically designed and written for running behind the lines commando sort of raids and such like. So you being able to use like the commandos or the SAS, and they've also done expansions where you can bring in the resistance and using SOE. So that's pretty much the most straightforward and easiest way to do it, is to use that particular rule set, because that rule set has been designed with that in mind. Now there are plenty of other rule sets you could use. You could pick up a rule set such as Rogue Warriors, which is a new set of rules that's come out, and they have an additional book called Ungentlemanly Warriors, which is basically designed for you running behind the line missions in World War II, and that's also got solo rules for those who like to sort of test out and play through games using solo rules. And then you could probably do the same thing with bolt action and things like rapid fire, but obviously you're going to have to adjust those rules to suit a scenario that is based around sort of the use of the SAS and SOE. Now what you could do is combine it so it's a larger game using those rules, and SOE or SAS or something like the commandos play a smaller part within that larger game. But like I said, there are plenty of rules out there. Some of them you may have to adjust to make it work, but on the whole it shouldn't be too difficult sort of to recreate some of those missions and those raids. And the type of stuff you're going to be looking at doing is like blowing up railway lines, destroying radar communications, things like that, supply lines and ammo dumps or fuel dumps, things that would be strategically valuable to the German military, and all of that would have been done in preceding the sort of landings of 6th of June. And the idea was to create chaos behind the lines, confuse the Germans, but also reduce their ability to make use of those logistics, to make things more difficult for them, so that it makes it easier for those landing on the beaches, and as they progress forward off the beaches, limiting the Germans' ability to communicate, move reinforcements up to the lines, and as well as resupplies and stuff like that, would make it difficult for the Germans and give that advantage to the Allies. So that's what you're looking at, sort of creating scenarios around that. So anything that sort of theoretically would be disruptive to the German military on the front lines is the sort of type of things you'll be looking at blowing up, attacking and destroying. So like I said, there are rule sets out there specifically written for those types of games, and then there are rule sets that you may have to adjust. And there are plenty of miniatures out there. You've got plastics from Wargames Atlantic. You can use the plastics from Warlord games. Then there are plenty of miniatures, metal ones from like Artisan Designs that do some really nice sort of SAS and sort of miniatures that would fit within the SOE sort of remit. Wargames Atlantic do a French Resistance box set of plastics, as well as doing like commandos and the Germans and everything like that. There is plenty, like I say, your choice for this period is quite immense. There's plenty of companies out there that both make plastic and metal miniatures, just depending on what you prefer. So you aren't limited in choice, and price wise they range depending on where you get your miniatures from, but you've got plenty of choice out there for creating sort of these little games. There are also terrain-wise, companies like Sarissa do plenty of sort of terrain that will work pretty well with a sort of things like radar stations, or for an aircraft base, things like that. They do plenty of sort of terrain that will fit with for these games, and there are plenty of sort of a few manufacturers that are producing a range of scales as well, so you don't have to play 28mm. There are plenty of stuff out there that's in 20mm and 15mm that will work really, really well, and there's all these manufacturers who can supply vehicles. So if you're looking for like things from like trucks, German trucks, something like that, if you want to do a convoy hit, there's plenty out there for it. Anyway, that's all for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.